Welcome to Micka on Influence, your go to podcast for bold conversations and impactful insight into influencer marketing, content creation, and the ever growing creator economy. Every week, we are diving deep into real stories, smart strategies, and game changing moves shaping this dynamic space. From top creators to brand strategists, CMOs to media planners, we bring you raw, actionable insight straight from the front lines. This is where influence meets intention. Let's get into it. Welcome to Micka on Influence. It's the podcast that keeps you up to date with the world of marketing, media, and influencing. Every week, I bring you some incredible guests. Joining me in this episode is Marcelle Eckstein. She is the brand manager at SC Johnson. Welcome, Marcelle. How are you doing?
Thank you, Mika. I'm doing good. I'm really excited about this.
Me too. Excited to be chatting to you and getting a bit of knowledge on our podcast today with regards to marketing. Firstly, you've had an impressive journey, right? From PNG to SC Johnson. You also won the CEO award along the way. Congratulations. How did you first start in marketing?
So, surprisingly enough, I've actually wanted to be in marketing since I was 9 years old. At that time, it was, oh, my aunt is in marketing. She's traveling the world. She's seeing people. She's learning about them. That's so cool. And then I like get everything in my life just to being in marketing. So everything in my life was geared towards being in marketing. I really enjoyed getting to know consumers and then being able to deliver a product or a service that they need. And that's what kind of enticed me into being in marketing. I love being able to build something and grow it, and I get to do that being in marketing.
That's fantastic. With your experience in both FMCG and corporate marketing, how have you seen the influencer marketing, world of influencer marketing evolve over the past few years?
It's been really interesting to see where influencing started, I think, is among like celebrities, and where it is today is could be your friend that is actually in the influencing um, industry. So I think there's been very many different levels of this marketing and how it's involved, from celebrities that were so far removed from you to today, where it's someone who you know, someone who you trust, someone who you feel affiliated with, or someone that you connect with more and engage with more rather than a celebrity that's far removed.
And do you think, well, why do you think it's become such a critical tool to use influencer marketing in today's day and age?
I think influencer marketing has been very helpful in us in getting to our consumers, having a conversation directly with them, and also just learning about them. So instead of it being a one-way conversation where you have advertising or something that's very far removed, you get so much closer to them and engage with them, show them your product, learn about them, and have more of an influence in that and more of a connection with them in that. So I think it's really, really great that we have that impactful influence and almost like as close to a one on one engagement with them.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a favorite celebrity influencer?
So I don't really have a favorite celebrity because I don't really follow in that way. But one of the influences that I've really admired in terms of their growth would be Kay Arms. And for me, it was because I saw her from the beginning where she was posting on Facebook about how to do your eyebrows and how she built that into being on YouTube and being one of the first people to start engaging in YouTube content before it was very, very popular, and then building her brand from that, and then even being so influential that she once posted about, I think, Dawn Lotion, and it sold out in stores, and that wasn't even a sponsored post, and now she has her own business. So seeing that full journey and that development and her actually being a pioneer and not only sticking to what she had started with but also growing and developing in that, I really admire, and I love to see that growth happening.
Fantastic. Do you prefer to work with micro or nano influencers?
I think it really depends on what you're trying to achieve because both can be very useful in terms of how you're trying to communicate, what message you're trying to send out, what product, and how you want people to connect or relate to it. I think that nano influencers are so important because of the high engagement that they get. And that's really useful when you're really trying to get close to the consumers. And micro influencers can be very helpful in how how many people they reach,
Yeah.
and that's super great for a brand and trying to get out there and getting known as a brand.
Awesome. Can you
So it's just very dependent for me on
Ah,
what you're trying to achieve with your product or as the brand.
all right, get it, got it, got it. Can you share a particularly successful campaign that really made it work for both the brand and the audience?
So in my work that I've done, I've had the opportunity to work on like female shave care. So I worked with the Venus brand, and in the past it was very much like remove your hair, smooth skin. It was a lady on the beach walking in her white bikini. And what I really loved about that is that by the time I had come onto the brand had actually been listening to the consumers and had learned about what they wanted. Not everybody is shaving every part of their body, but what they do want is to take care of their skin and they want to feel good in the skin that they're in. So a campaign that I got to work on was called My Skin, My Way. And it was about care for your skin and the different ways that you can care for your skin and how shaving works with that. And that was a really successful campaign because it showed how a brand can grow from telling you what you should be doing to listening to how you do it and meeting you where you are at. And even with our influencers that we got to use, it was so exciting to work on this kind of campaign because I remember presenting to them and how much they loved it and them even speaking about there's different types of hair removal, but we showed them how shaving can work with that. And even the content that they produced in terms of their skin, their way, and how they reached out and how they brought that to life was really, really exciting. And they brought some beautiful, beautiful content and then we also had an element of that pain of having a psychologist on board because I think in terms of dealing with the way you see yourself, it's not an easy journey. Sometimes it is rooted in deep insecurities and it's not as easy as saying like just love yourself. So having the support of a psychologist on that campaign was also just a full circle campaign and relating and connecting with our consumer and just speaking about it. And I also had the chance to be on Espresso to talk about this campaign. So it was really, really fun. And I just loved it. And it was something that was very close to what I believe in and I relate to.
Hey creators, Micka here with a quick tip to level up your influencer income game. If you haven't checked out Webfluential yet, you're leaving money on the table. It's Africa's #1 platform for creators, hooking you up directly with brands ready to pay for your influence. With the Creator Pro dashboard, you can chat with brands, manage your collabs, and watch the cash roll in all in one place. More brands flock to Webfluential than elsewhere in Africa because they know your reach delivers a serious bang for their buck. Ready to cash in? Swing by webfluential.com. Claim your profile and turn your audience into a paycheck today.
Wow, that really sounds incredible. I really love that. That is like taking care of the full package, not just the exterior, but also what's inside. Very important. And
Exactly.
is there a campaign that you did that didn't go as planned and wasn't as successful? What lessons did you learn in that specific, yeah, campaign?
Yeah, so there are campaigns that I've worked on where I felt that the idea wasn't very well thought out, or the idea of this is what I want to see the videos look like, and it's been very prescriptive at what we've asked the influencers to do. And in that way, they don't have their own, like, the freedom to create the content that actually resonates with their consumers. So that would be one of the biggest learnings that I've had, is in being too prescriptive about what you want to see actually hurts how the campaign can come to life. Because these are content creators and this is what they do. And they are the experts in that, and they can come up with really viral and really beautiful campaigns that relate with your brand. So knowing how you want your consumers to think or feel or do is more important than what you want the content to look like.
And how do you balance that influencer authenticity to also match the brand messaging?
I think that is one of the most important things that you need for your content. And the way that I do that is by making sure I know the content creators very closely. I'm very familiar with the content that they create and what brand they are standing for. So there are types of influencers that might be in many different industries, but understanding what they stand for and that this is something that is a very long term thing and this is something that they believe in helps it be more authentic for you and your brand, and finding those influences that actually connect with your brand and the message that you are already saying and the message that they are already speaking about.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And then also, is there any specific types of content or storytelling approaches that you've really found that resonates so good with audiences? They just love seeing it, this certain type of way of doing things. What is that?
I think again, this is something that's very dependent on the brand, the product, and the influencer. Because there are brands that are more on the serious and scientific side, and when you see them trying to go into more of a comical, uh, it doesn't work sometimes. So I think knowing your brand, knowing who you're trying to communicate with is very important, because you need to have that, again, authenticity in the content that's created. So I would say that that knowledge of what the brand is, what they stand for, who the content creators and what they stand for, and matching that up gets the best content out there, rather than having like a very specific type of content that gets out there.
And do you have any strategies that you follow just to make sure that you get the proper impact of influencer campaigns?
Yeah, I think getting the proper impact de- depends on what you're trying to do, who you're trying to speak to, and knowing what's very relevant now. So I think now with all the different platforms where the content creators exist, there's a lot of video format that is quite big on your TikTok, on your Instagram, where they have reels, on YouTube, where they're also promoting shorts. So when you have a static image, it makes it harder to reach people. So I think in terms of my strategy and getting the highest impact, it depends on the influences that I need, nano or micro or macro, depends on the type of format or content that we need. And then at the very, very core of it is having that match between who the influencers are that you're using and what message you're trying to get out as a brand.
Okay, and then let's talk education and trends, right? With regards to trends, is there any specific emerging trends right now that is really popping off that marketers should be paying attention to?
It's such a vast world and different types of trends that are coming out. But I think one that has really caught my eye is the AI influencers that exist. So I don't know if you've heard about like Mika. She's a completely AI developed influencer, and that is so interesting to me because you have so many people that follow, and she has this content about her going out and being places. So I think it's very cool to see you have like the people who create content, but brands and marketers can also create their own influences. I've also seen a campaign that was done with like a bee. So this is like not someone who's a real person, it's something that was created by a brand, and people were following their story and following what they said. And this was to highlight like we need to protect the bees. And they eventually killed off the bee, which is quite sadistic, but it's interesting to see that connection that takes place. So I think creating your own thing that is followed and resonated with your audience is what we need to pay attention to and how that's changing and developing.
You are dropping gems right now, so thank you so much, Marcel. How can brands leverage influencer marketing to educate audiences rather than just simply using them to promote products?
I think that it's always for me going to go back to what are the content creators already speaking about. I got to work on a campaign with the brand that I'm currently on, which is Raid, and we were speaking about malaria and how big of a pandemic that is. And we actually made use of doctor influencers and finding those influencers that were speaking to their communities about how they can take care of themselves and take care of others was very helpful in us having the right or the high reach of the campaign. So brands don't only have products that they promote, but they also have something that they stand for, and consumers are paying attention to what the brand stands for, and also what an influencer stands for. So I think it's very helpful in connecting that together and getting those things together and the message out on that instead of just the products.
And what advice would you give to marketers or influencers for creating meaningful and credible campaigns?
I think know who you are, and in that saying that, like, what does your brand stand for, and be very authentic in that, whether that's a niche or whether that's different modes that you're in, just so that it's very clear for a brand that would select you to know, oh, this is what the influencer stands for. I'm very clear that they are a beauty and lifestyle influencer. I'm very clear that they're an active, green, or you understand what this influencer is standing for rather than just trying to just appeal to different people, because in that way you can find the ones that connect very clearly with your brand.
That's so true. I feel like the audience can even see when a influencer isn't really connecting to the brand, but it's just paid partnership, and that makes us go,
Exactly.
side eyeing a bit.
Yeah, and our audience is very smart. They are very wise to the fact that there is payment behind this. So they don't mind if they know that this is you are a fitness influencer. So promoting a fitness brand makes sense. But they will mind if you've never been speaking about fitness and then you all of a sudden have that brand.
Very, very, very good thing to just like pick up. Where do you see influencer marketing heading in the next 3 to 5 years, particularly in FMCG?
Yo, I wish I knew because I think even seeing influences today is not something we could have imagined like 10 years ago. I think that the AI development of influence is quite big, and I think we'll be moving more towards that, but we have no idea what different platforms there will be. Um, and just, I think, also staying and paying attention and seeing and also staying authentic helps the credibility of what you're using, what you're doing, or what it will turn into, because you can always find your place, whether it's on Instagram, TikTok, that also is huge and emerging, or YouTube, or wherever you're speaking. It might even be a thing that it's not on online platforms anymore. Staying authentic and credible can help you fit in wherever you need to be.
It's such a good point you made there. It might not even be online anymore. And then what?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on creator-led brands and then the trend of using customers as influencers? And I really like when, we get authentic storytelling from customers through their real experiences. What are your thoughts on that?
I love that. The first part of the content creators having their own brands again comes into like them building and not just being people who are promoting other people's products or services, but they have their own brand now and they have that community that also believes in them. So I love seeing that. And then also having their own customers promoting their brand is also just so beautiful because credible and authentic, and it's people that believe in what is happening and relate to it and have been following it and might even have seen the whole growth in the journey, and it becomes even more credible and even more authentic. So I love that this is where it's at, where it's people who have maybe experienced it will be genuine and tell the truth about what their experience is. And that's just helpful for everybody who maybe might be interested in that kind of product.
Fantastic. Lastly, just the improv question. If you could give three tips to influencers right now and three tips to marketers on how to just evolve and step up their game for next year, for 2026, what should they start doing?
I think for influencers, I'll go back to be very clear on what your brand is and what you stand for. I think that consistency is more helpful than quality, because having it out there and trying allows you to learn on how you can improve and make it better. And then, yeah, being true to yourself. Does it resonate with you and do you believe in it? Even if nobody's watching it, if you believe in it, and even if you are saying, I want one person to see this and I want it to impact one person, stand by that and keep doing that. And then I think with marketers, I think comes down to knowing what you want your end users or your consumers to think, feel, and do, instead of what the campaign needs to be or look like, because it allows for the influencers to create what they believe in. And that is more effective than a prescribed content. I think also just staying in touch with how things develop in the market. So going from static to video formats that are really popular right now, you have to stay on top of those trends. And then thirdly, think about what your brand can be on its own and how it can come to life and represents its own type of, oh, well, it's already a brand, but its own type of, maybe if it looked like a person, what does it look like? How do people relate to it? And then that way you'll see how that connects to everything.
Wow, amazing. Marcel, thank you. You've been great on this episode. You came with the knowledge and the quickness, and I love that for you. That is why you won the CEO award. It's very clear. Uh, please do come back
Thank you.
and join me again for some more knowledge dropping and gems dropping. I'm looking forward to it. To our audience, go like,
Yep.
follow, and subscribe to our channel, Micka on Influence. We dropping you new episodes and bringing you the best in the business, so you are always up to date and clued up. Keep creating and keep being influential. Until next time, bye.
That's a wrap on this episode of Micka on Influence. I hope you're walking away with fresh insights and new ideas to level up your influencing game. If you loved what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, follow, and like, and also share with your network. Join the community obsessed with mastering the art and science of influence, because in this space, we don't just follow trends, we create them. Until next time, keep creating, keep connecting, and stay influential.